Hello everyone, I'm happy to see you again, and today I'm going to do a quick demonstration of the first step of the four-step model of NVC. So the four steps are observation, feelings, needs and requests. These are the four steps that help us to communicate either with ourselves, so self-connection, with another person, so expressing ourselves with honesty, or receiving another with compassion, so listening to another person compassionately. And these are the four steps we use in NVC. So today we're going to look at the first step, which is observation. Observation. And I'm going to explain what observation is in the NVC model by also explaining what evaluation is, because these are kind of two things that are at opposite ends of the spectrum. They're on a spectrum. So maybe let's start with evaluation. So an evaluation is a way in which we make certain analysis or judgments about other people through the behaviors or actions or things that they say. So for example, one evaluation I could have could be, you never do the dishes. You never do the dishes. That's an evaluation. I'm evaluating whether the other person does the dishes or not on a certain amount of basis. If I say never, then I'm evaluating how often they do the dishes. Or you only think of yourself. So I'm evaluating whether this person is thinking of me or of other people. I've decided in my mind that because they've said this or have done that, that means that they must be only thinking of themselves. I've come to that conclusion. Okay, that's my evaluation. Another one could be, well, now you're just ignoring me. So again, I've seen someone behaving in a certain way. Maybe they've said something or they've done something or they're not saying something or not doing something. And I've decided, I've come to the conclusion or the assumption that that means they're ignoring me. So that's my evaluation. My mind has put these things together and created a story about what the other person is doing or not doing, and how good or bad they are for doing or not doing that thing. So that's what we do, we evaluate. This is a very normal thing to do. This is the way that we have been educated in our society. We've been educated to evaluate ourselves, to evaluate other people, to say whether somebody is doing something in a way that is right or wrong, good or bad. If someone is successful or not, if someone is caring or not, we evaluate ourselves. It's all the way through the school system. It's in the way that we have been parented, the way that we, everything is being sold to us, products. It's all around us, evaluation. So hopefully we won't evaluate ourselves or judge ourselves for being too evaluative because it's really a part of society. But the good news is that we can change our evaluations into something else, which is an observation. And the question is, why would I want to change my evaluation? I mean, what does it do for me? Why do I want to try and change my evaluation into an observation? Well, you see, when I'm evaluating someone, or when I'm in a place of making judgments about the things that they do or they say, I'm immediately disconnecting. I'm stopping the connection from happening. It might serve the purpose of expressing what I'm thinking about them, but most of the time it doesn't help me create that connection that I'm normally longing for. When I'm expressing my feelings to somebody, usually it's because I really want them to find some understanding for me. I want them to hear me. I want them to understand what I'm going through. I want to connect with them. I want to understand what they're going through. But if I evaluate them, it's going to create that defense mechanism in the other person. They're going to hear, I've done something wrong, or they think that I'm doing something wrong, or that I'm not a good person. And when somebody hears that, the last thing they're going to want to do is listen to you or connect with you. Okay, so that's the reason why evaluation is not necessarily going to help us create connection in a relationship or in a conversation. So what we can do is we can take away all of that evaluative language and really stick to what we can see and what we can hear, what we touch. We just use our senses. So it's almost like being a video camera. So if you were a video camera and you had no ability to evaluate what someone or something was doing or saying, you know, how good or bad they were, or what their thoughts were, or their intentions were. If you were a video camera, you can only record what you see people doing and what you hear them saying. These are the only things that you can express. So we try to translate our evaluations into an observation, and when we do that, that really helps people to take away that evaluative judgment, which stops the connection, and it allows connection to flow. We normally don't just stop at this. The observation moves on to the other steps in NVC, which we'll talk about later. But this allows that flow of connection to continue if we just say what it is that we've seen or we've heard the other person do or say. So, for example, we have the sentence, you never do the dishes. So how can we change that from an evaluation, you never do the dishes, into an observation? So for me, I could say, well, when I see the dishes in a pile next to the sink, that's something I see. It's a fact. I see the dishes in a pile next to the sink. But that's changing the evaluation of you never do the dishes to when I see the dishes in a pile next to the sink. Let's try another one. You only think of yourself. You only think of yourself. So how can I change that into an observation? So when you said, I don't care, and then we would continue with our feelings and needs. So that's just a simple observation. When you said, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. Very simple. Yeah, it takes away any of that evaluation. Okay, so that's how we turn our evaluations into observations. And just to give you a bit more clarity on how this process works with the other 4 steps, I'm going to give you an example of how to turn your evaluation into an observation and follow on with your feelings and your needs. Now you're just ignoring me. When I see that you're not saying anything right now, I feel confused and a bit hurt, a little bit irritated, because I'm really needing some communication and dialogue, and also I'd really like to be heard. So I'm wondering if you would be willing to tell me what you heard me say before. So that's just one example of how you would use the 4 steps, starting with the observation, moving through to the feelings, needs, and then requests. So the next video I'll make you will be about feelings. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm really, really open to any comments, any feedback about how this little example went, any kind of clarifications you need, and also let me know if you have had a go at the activity. You can even leave in the comments some examples of you translating an evaluation that you have into an observation, and then other people can comment on whether they see that as a completely free of evaluation observation, or whether there is some evaluation in there. So you can really use this as a chance or a space to exercise that together and get some feedback from the community. Hope you enjoy, and I'll see you very soon.